Okay, so I have here about 2¼ pounds, almost ¼ pound of skirt steak. And this is just a beautiful steak. And of course, I always make sure that I'm sourcing really quality meat. And this one came from Flying Bee Bar Ranch up in Colorado. I was going to a friend's house and stopped by this ranch, and all of their other cuts were so yummy. And I haven't tried their skirt steak yet, but I'm sure it's delightful because I've tried their New York strips, I tried their ground brisket, their flanken ribs, and I'm pretty sure maybe even their ribeye, and it was phenomenal. My friends were just, it blew their mind with the taste of it. So anyway, so definitely start out with good quality. This is 100% grass-fed meat. This is great for leftovers. This is great for family meals. This is great for a gathering. You can cut it up into bite-sized pieces, and it only takes like 5 minutes to prep. So I want to show you how to do that, and let's go ahead and go through the ingredients and what we do to prep this. The ingredients are very simple for this recipe. You'll need a lime, some salt, some olive oil, as well as some rosemary. So we'll start first by making the marinade. And I am moving out of this place, so I don't have all of my tools and things like that with me, but the good news is that you don't need much. So I have just it's a baking dish, but this is what I'm gonna marinate it in because I don't like the Ziploc bags or anything of that nature, so I would marinate this in this anyways. So we're going to start by cutting our limes, and we're gonna need about 1/4 cup of lime juice. If you also want some extra brightness too, you can add a bit of lime zest, and yeah, just maybe about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm gonna keep on squeezing this lime in there, and again, if you have tools to get the juice out more efficiently than I have right now, go ahead and do that. Kids, don't try this at home. It's just when you don't have the tools, it's okay. You just gotta figure it out, real life, right? Nice. It smells so good. And fresh lime juice is just the way to go. Otherwise, I think there's this brand called Lakeway or Lakewood that you can get in the grocery store that also has just fresh lime juice without any additives or sugars or anything of that nature. Okay, good. This is gonna be so yummy. It smells so good already. Then we'll use 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil. I use really high quality olive oil just because there's a lot of BS olive oils out there that are cut with seed oils and actually are counterfeit and not real olive oils. So I just make sure that I source mine really, really well. This is PJ Cabo's, so I'm using their high phenolic shot because this one has the most polyphenols, and so it has loads of health benefits, but what that means for the meat is that it will coat the meat in a protective layer so that it can prevent it from forming any toxic or carcinogenic compounds. So just a new thing that I'm diving into is more marinades to protect the meat from just developing these carcinogenic compounds. So olive oil and just making sure that it is a quality and real 100% olive oil is the way to go. So I'm gonna use the high phenolic shot because again, it has the most polyphenols in it, and that the polyphenols are what really protect the meat. Now, funny enough is I'm empty, which is why I actually brought the next one, which is robust. And so that's sort of the next level down in the polyphenol content. But we'll use about 1/3 cup of this, probably almost done this one too. Wow, okay. Don't worry, I have a third one, which is their everyday use olive oil. And that one, you know, is great for, it's still great for cooking because again, like even their one that's everyday use is just a little bit lower of a price point, but it still has that, you know, protective layer content in it. So I'm just gonna get that olive oil to add a little bit more to make our 1/3 cup. Okay, here we go. Here's the 3rd one. So I'll fill it, and I'm eyeballing it again. Like I said, no tools, we're winging it. Here we go. But it's a marinade, and it's not baking, right? Baking can be very particular. Cool. So then, fresh rosemary. So you'll need about 2 to 3 teaspoons of fresh rosemary. Oh my gosh, Wow, this meal just smells delightful already, and it hasn't even been cooked yet. It's just gorgeous. Love the colors, love the flavor. So this is also a great recipe to just, sort of impress. Kind of like you're a 5-star chef, but nobody knew that it took you like 5 minutes to prep. So I'm gonna pull these sprigs off and then chop them up into a little bit smaller and finer pieces and toss them in the marinade. Okay, tossing some of that rosemary into our marinade. Next, we'll just put the meat in there. All right, then we'll go ahead and drop that bad boy in there for marinade. Amazing. So you'll want to marinate this for about an hour or so. You don't want to marinate it too long because then it'll break it down almost to mush, and you don't want that. So just an hour for it to take the flavor and tenderize just a little bit. And yeah, this is just going to be so flavorful, bright, and yummy. And I'll probably spin it or flip it another halfway through. So about 30 minutes, I'll check back in and then flip it again so that it has sort of equal amounts of time, because my plate here is small, but it's good. Like, it's packed and the marinade's gonna work. So I'm gonna set my timer for an hour and then we'll come back and we'll cook it. All right, so an hour is up. I just put it on the counter like this. I covered it with a little cloth top, and then you'll just pull it out. And I kind of take off just little rosemary or any lime zest that's on it too. You can also put it in the fridge too. I wouldn't go really over more than 3 hours of marinating it, again, because the acidity will break down the meat super quick, and you just don't want that type of texture. The taste might be there, although I'm not sure. So just don't over marinate it. So I just kind of keep it out on the counter, honestly, because I only marinate it for about an hour. And plus, if you take your meat out about an hour before cooking anyways, it gets to nice room temperature, so that way you have a little bit more even cooking. So speaking of cooking, there are a couple of ways to cook this skirt steak. Is you can grill it, you can pan sear it, or you can cook it on, pan sear it, or you can cook it in the oven. So because this is such a long piece, I'm gonna cut it up into smaller pieces so that I can just sort of fry it on a pan. I'm gonna do a pan fry and sear, because my grill is just, it can get too hot and I don't wanna overcook it, especially like tenderize it. I wanna cook it to about medium rare. That's how I like it. So it'll only be just a few minutes each side. So of course you can cook it to your doneness. So I'll probably do about maybe 3 minutes each side. So we'll go ahead and see. And all right, I'm gonna start cutting up the steak. So I'm gonna first start by turning on it's a flat skillet to medium-high heat. You want the pan just, super hot so that you can get that nice crispy texture on the outside. I like a nice crisper sear. And once that's hot, then I will add the olive oil again. There is some olive oil on there. However, I like to just coat the pan a little bit more so that nothing really sticks. All right, seems the pan is getting hot enough, so we will put a little olive oil on there, coat the pan nicely. Probably even, no, actually this is about right. Looks like it's coating it nice. Now for the best part, to hear the sizzle. Okay, so I cut them into about these size pieces. And again, you can always cut them more or, larger, whatever your pan calls for. Nice. Oh my gosh. Wow. Woo! Smells so good. So I'll probably leave it on here for about 3 minutes or so. I'll just check. Sometimes I know when the color starts to change about halfway through, and then I'll flip it. So we're looking at about a 3-minute cook here. Let's reveal what that sear looks like. Woohoo! Yes! These look beautiful, and this skirt steak is actually a little thicker than I'm used to, which is great. So I've actually cooked it for 4 minutes on one side, and then now we're coming up on about 5 minutes on the other. Typically I'll do it in reverse, like 5 minutes on the first side and then 4 minutes on the other, just because the pan gets a little bit hotter, so it starts to sear that outside a little bit quicker. But again, every steak cut is different. So if you get a skirt steak that is a little bit thinner, you might want to go anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes each side. Whoa. Okay. I think that's about done. These are beautiful. I love this, like, just a little bit of caramelized brown, and knowing that that high phenolic olive oil is really protecting the meat from any carcinogenic compounds that form, or that won't. Right, moment of truth. Here we go. Just finishing up the last steak cut here. I'm gonna bring this over. Look at this and the juices. I don't want to spill them, but oh my gosh, you guys, what a cutting board and a great centerpiece. Look how beautiful these look. Right, going to slice into one. Let's take that one. That one looks yummy. Oh yes, look at that. That is great. I love that. All right, let's do some final touches. Of course, add some salt on here. The doneness is perfect to my liking. And then, you know, a chef, of course, has to taste test, right? So let's see how it goes. Flying Bee Bar Ranch hasn't disappointed yet, so here we go. Oh my God. That rosemary is perfect. Wow. You guys, this is great. I'll put all the links down below, what I used, where I got this meat from, because it is incredible. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Cooking with Bae, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified the next time a recipe drops, because, you know, I want you to keep coming back, comment, tell me if you tried this recipe, maybe you want another recipe. Go ahead and drop those comments down below. See you next time.